Hello, it's John Heaton. This afternoon I'm going to tell you about some extra goodies that I discovered on Spotify, basically included in the Spotify package. So if you've got the monthly subscription, you don't have to pay any extra. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that regarding some of the bootleg Bob Dylan series, the whole shooting match is available, not just the truncated version, which I think was originally the case. Take the example of bootleg series 13, The Trouble No More. This set, this is the vinyl. When it first came out, I think they had about 20 of the tracks on Spotify, which was about half of what turned up on the double CD. Now they've got all of the CDs, all 5 or 6 of them. And it's just glorious because a lot of it I hadn't heard because I didn't splash out to buy the deluxe box set, and now it's all there for free. And prior to getting into that, I was discovering bootleg series 1 to 3 and just remembering how much great stuff there is. This came out in '91 and there's just so many hidden gems on here. It was great rediscovering this, especially Talking Bear Mountain Picnic Blues on disc 1, just hilarious. And then some outtakes, Blonde on Blonde outtake called She's Your Lover Now, I think it was. I think it's Blonde on Blonde. And then a load of brilliant Infidels outtakes, like Tell Me, Lord Protect My Child, and Someone's Got a Hold of My Heart, and Full of Pride, and Blind Willie McTell. So those are all Infidels outtakes, and also some Desire outtakes and some Shot of Love outtakes, and just a brilliant series, the bootleg series, and volumes 1 to 3 was a great way to kick it off. So been listening to the detailed version, as I say, and comparing the details that are available on the internet with this book by Clinton Heylin, where he goes through the Shot of Love sessions and the saved sessions and details which track was recorded on which day, and for the most part it ties to what's the information on the internet is. So pretty accurate stuff from Clinton Heylin there. And I mean, I'll just go through some of the stuff. Some of the stuff on the deluxe version is live stuff, and some of it studio outtakes. Most of the stuff on the actual this version is live. In fact, I think all of it's live. But on the deluxe version, you get quite a few studio demos, which are very interesting. But to start off with the live stuff, Chuckle, Making a Liar Out of Me, recorded September the 26th, 1980, which didn't make it onto Saved or Shot of Love, and is very interesting. Rise Again is a gospel number recorded October 16th, 1980. Same with Cover Down, Pray Through, May the 1st, 1980. And then there's an interesting radio spot from Portland, Oregon, where they interview various fans, and some of them are saying, well, it's not the real Bob, and it's not the Bob I wanted to see, and some are saying, well, it's really good. And then they say, decide for yourself, tickets on sale now. And that was interesting. You've got a rehearsal for Gonna Change My Way of Thinking from October 79, which was a few months after Slowly Train Coming had come out. It came out in August 79, so they were obviously rehearsing a different version for the upcoming tour. Same with Gotta Serve Somebody. There's a rehearsal with horns October the 9th, 79. When He Returns is an early take from May the 4th, 79, which is not as good as the finished take, it has to be said. Covenant Woman is take 3, I think it is, from February the 11th, 1980, which I found just as good as the release version. I know Clinton Heylin is very critical of Saved, the release version of Saved, saying some of the tracks were better recorded earlier or would have been better had the live versions been included, perhaps. It's not a criticism I share too much, because I think Saved is a glorious album. Pressing On is an early take, February the 13th, 1980, which the finished version definitely improves on. Ain't No Man Righteous Not One is, I think he did it live on the 2 CD set, but this is a studio version from May the 1st, 79, very interesting. Shot of Love demo version, nothing too special, but Watered Down Love demo version I thought was more interesting than the release version, very funky. You Shall Be Changed never saw the light of day, but I think it's quite a storming song. Caribbean Wind, very nice. There's been a couple of versions released over the years, one on Biograph I think, certainly available on Bootleg. This is a version from September 23rd, 1980, which I found very touching. Trouble in Mind was the earliest song laid down for Slow Train Coming, and there's an early take of that. Oh, there's just such a treasure trove of stuff here. You Changed My Life actually did appear here in 91, but it appears again on this deluxe set, along with an alternative version of The Groom Still Waiting at the Altar, and an alternative version of Dead Man, Dead Man, which is quite interesting. Not my favourite song. Very interesting rehearsal of Every Grain of Sand, which is better than the demo. Now, where was the demo? Was the demo on here? Yeah, I think it was, which wasn't too special, but this version is getting towards the majesty of the release version on the album, and actually Bob's vocals probably better. The only thing missing from this version is Bob's harmonica solos, which kind of make the album version. Yonder Comes Sin never appeared on an album, and there's a storming version of that here. And then, as if we hadn't had enough joys, a whole gig from April 1980 in Toronto is included, which has several highlights. I mean, I don't know where to begin. It's got the standard track listing from the gospel period. The band is Jim Keltner on drums, Fred Tackett on guitar, Spooner Oldham on keyboards, Terry Young on keyboards. I think Steve Ripley's helping out on guitar as well, or maybe that's on the later tour. It's Tim Drummond's on bass, Clydie King, Mary Elizabeth Bridges, Regina McCrary, Mona Lisa Young, and backing vocals. And I think I wrote down some highlights. Let me see. Well, I think maybe I didn't note any specific highlights for Toronto, but it's a tremendous gig. I mean, it was not from the first leg of the tour, because that had kicked off in the fall of 1979, and this was kind of the last leg of the tour from April 1980. And I think one of the gigs from Canada was filmed you can watch it on YouTube. It's not fantastic quality. It's a little dark. Camera work's not brilliant, but it's still pretty decent, and I wish that had seen the light of day. On the deluxe box set, which is not obviously on Spotify, there was a DVD documentary of this gospel period, which I've never seen, and that concert filmed performance, again, could have been on the deluxe, wasn't. So I'd love to see that, a properly remastered version of that. But then, as if we didn't have enough with the Toronto gig, I did make the comment that the version of Precious Angel is comically fast. He really speeds it up for no good reason, because the tempo they take it out on Slow Train Coming is perfect for the song, and I don't think they needed to change that. But anyway, then we have another entire concert from 1981, Earl's Court, 27th of June, and my friend Dave Bloomfield was there for one of these gigs. I'm not sure which one, but I'd always been led to understood that this wasn't a brilliant set of concerts, but listening to this concert, the only track I didn't really enjoy was Maggie's Farm, and Dead Man doesn't work too well. Good version of Girl from the North Country, good version of Man Gave Names, good version of Ballad of Thin Man, solid version of Slow Train, not too good version of Lenny Bruce missing the piano, and then a brilliant version of Mr. Tambourine Man where Jim Keltner is doing a superb impersonation of Kenny Buttrey's Blonde on Blonde drums. And he's singing it in his Precious Angel vocal style and with this very keen acoustic strumming, and it's just a brilliant version. Solid Rock, less successful. Just Like a Woman is a brilliant version. Watered Down Love, very good live version. Forever Young, outstanding live version. And I know Dylan's played with a lot of bands in his career, but I think this band with Tim Drummond and Jim Keltner is about the best. Fred Tackett. I really do. I know that Robbie Robertson and co were great as well, so I wouldn't like to say it's the best, but it's certainly one of the best and very suited to the material he was doing. Now, when he comes to do In the Garden, and check this out, and be sure to look at the London concert version. I think it's the third, because there are two other versions of In the Garden on this deluxe set. But the London one, at the beginning, he comes to the microphone and says, I phoned George Harrison today, an old friend of mine, and he was in his garden. So I'd like to dedicate this next song to George, who couldn't be here tonight. And then he plays a storming version of In the Garden. So I thought it was really touching that he would do that, phone George up, just 6 months after John Lennon's death. You know, they were still keeping in touch. Solo version, acoustic version of It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, is great. Knocking on Heaven's Door does a reggae version, and I thought maybe that's a nod to Eric Clapton's version, because Eric Clapton did a brilliant reggae version, but it's not as good as Eric's version. But I found Bob in good humour. Normally, in quite a few times I've seen him live, he never talks to the crowd, but here, in the band introductions, he's joking about the keyboard player being Leon Russell. He says, not really, he's Terry Young. And then he halfway through he says, I think that's all of the members of the band I want to introduce tonight. And he says, only joking. And then we've got Jim Keltner, who's played on loads of good records over the years. I'm sure you've heard them. Then he asks Jim, what was the last hit record you played on? So a lot of banter, almost unheard of for Bob. And then at the end, just before he does the encore, he says, I hope you got to hear one of the songs you wanted to hear tonight, and if you didn't, we're here tomorrow night, and the next night, and the night after that. So I hope at the end of those 4 nights you would have heard something you want to hear. And just talking to the audience, and as I say, that's very rare for Bob. I just want to mention Clyde King, who's on backing vocals certainly on the first tour and on the second tour and second concert, both concerts here, Toronto and London. She was also featured on Elton John's Caribou and Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street. So this 81 concert was the first time for a few years where he'd included non-gospel songs in his repertoire, because in 1979 and 80 he'd steadfastly refused to play anything other than the gospel songs, and here he spattered the set list with Rolling Stone, Ballad of the Thin Man, Girl from the North Country, in and amongst the gospel songs, and I think it works really well. And as I say, he's singing those older songs with his kind of Precious Angel voice, with those intonations he does so well, and it's a hilarious combination. Particularly check out, as I say, Mr. Tambourine Man, which I think is much superior to the Budokan version from a few years before, just to make one comparison there. So really enjoyed. I also noticed the Basement Tapes, the entire deluxe Basement Tapes set is on Spotify as well, so that's another thing to look forward to. I haven't checked out the others, but good value for money, this subscription to Spotify, because you get, maybe not immediately on release, but a couple of years after, you get the entire thing. So maybe a good thing not to splash out all that money when the box sets come out. It depends really how they're priced. Some are priced better than others, as we know, and Dylan's have never been overly expensive, it's true. So each to his own. If you want to pick up the box sets, pick them up. If you want to just wait for Spotify, then I think that's a good way to go as well. So that was my update on my enjoyment of the Bob Dylan Bootleg series. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.